All right. It's just about 2 o'clock here, so we are going to get started. But what I was saying is, Marita, thank you so much. You're such a wealth of knowledge and wisdom and cuteness and blessings. I mean, you're not all a pretty face. You have so many great friends in so many places. So thank you for putting this together for us, and thank you for being friends with Cody Gibson and Keisha's. You probably made Keisha's best friend list now.
I was just looking to see if she was on yet.
Oh, she's getting on. She got all dressed up for it and posted it on Facebook today. So
she got ready in the last 5 weeks. She got ready today.
That is so funny. She's probably, I'm hoping that she gets on here so we can all joke with her a little bit and give her a little bit of a hard time about her crush.
I love it. So as we wait for him to get on, you know, Cody and I have been talking for a while, and Keisha's came in my office more than once. And I don't know where if she's on here, I'll just kind of say I don't see her yet. But Keisha's came in and said, you know, you can't get Cody here. Oh, there he is. I just Keisha's been giving me a hard time since I became a team leader. You ain't a great team leader unless you give me Cody's number. And then I get Cody's number. And then like, you're not a great team leader unless you get Cody here. And I'm like, gosh, my whole job rides on Cody Gibson here. And then I said, here's the deal. You raise half, I'll raise half. And then we had to have a pandemic to come in and close down the whole city for us to get Cody Gibson on the line. I mean, you guys know that's what really happened, right? I mean, it's not about COVID, it's about Cody Gibson.
Right.
Yeah, he did this to all of us. So in case y'all are wondering.
So Cody, did I stalk you good enough at family reunion for Keisha?
Yes. Yeah, that was the highlight of my whole trip.
Well, we love and adore you. And I mean, this man doesn't need any introduction. He doesn't need us to say how great he is. First of all, before anything else, Cody, congratulations on all your success. You are such a God-given blessing. And I know the success you have, but you have a bigger heart than even more than your success. So thank you so much for pouring into us today.
I want to make sure that this is being recorded so I can take little snippets of what's being said and play them back to myself.
I'll send them to Ben.
I used to pay a virtual assistant to call me in the morning. Have you ever struggled with something? Like I've struggled with stuff, and I've struggled with being like an early riser. And I used to pay a virtual assistant to call me in the morning and read me a long affirmation that I'd written. And this whole thing started with, is anybody on the call? Does anybody struggle with waking up early, or is it just me? Is anybody else that person? There's just a couple of us. All right. So everybody else, screw you. Like I struggled with this, like this was a challenge for me. And early on, like I used to take my alarm clock and I would put it down the hallway. So I had to get out of bed and go turn off the alarm clock. And that helped for a while. And then I used to use tape over the little bar. This was such an old story. It was before phones or before iPhones. And so now my iPhone has like 9 alarms. Anybody else have like 6 alarms on their iPhone that goes off every morning? Like I've got that, and that's how I do it.
My husband.
I paid a taxi cab company to come to my house and knock on the door until I came and opened the door. I did that for a while. Like I've done, I mean, my point to the story is this. If there's something you'd like to change, you can change anything. No one's wired a certain way. Nobody, like people go, oh, I'm a morning person, or, oh, I'm a night owl, or whatever. Maybe you are and maybe you aren't, but you're not stuck where you are. And you can change that. You can shift it, whatever that looks like. And if it matters to you, you'll work at it. And if it takes you a long time to fix it, who cares? It's like when I teach 7 steps to 10 listings, people say, well, how long does it take to take the 10 listings a month? And it's almost like it doesn't matter. I need you to be on your journey. And however long that takes is how long it takes. Asking the question is almost like saying, how long until I'm the great dad that I want to be? Probably your whole life. How long until I'm a great follower of my faith? Probably your whole life. How long? I mean, you get my point. Like, I need you to be okay with the journey and not the destination. When you're hung up on the destination, you probably never get to it. If you're hung up on the journey, you'll look down one day as you're walking past the destination. And I have no idea how we got off on that topic.
No, I think that's beautiful. I mean, so for such a time like this, right? Because we need to pivot and change and not worry about what we're not, but what we can become. So I love that.
One of the things that I wrote right before this whole like pandemic thing hit, I've got notes all over the house. Like I've got Post-it notes and 3x5 cards and flip charts. Like I like to write. I'd like to say I'm a writer. Like I'm not a writer as in I'm not published and nobody buys anything from me, but I'm a writer in that I'm constantly writing things and leaving them around because I believe my environment matters. I believe that what I'm around matters. I believe that when I talk to young people, you could make the comment, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And when I think about myself, show me your environment and I'll show you your future. So one of the things I wrote was you can't become who you want to be while you're worried about who you were. Wow. And all of us, like there's nobody on this call that doesn't want to change something about who they are. And that doesn't make you good, bad, or indifferent. It just makes you alive. And the challenge is like, think about being like in a significant relationship or in a family or in a business, like it's all the same. You would like something to change. You'd be like, oh, I really want to change this. I don't want to wake up tomorrow and be the same person I was yesterday. But the people that are closest to you are scared of you changing. The people that are closest to you want you to remain the same. And it's not because they want to hold you back. It's because that's how they see you. It's because that's comfortable to them. And anybody who's been like in a long-term romantic relationship, like I like to joke that I've been to lots of weddings, they're all mine. And so if you've been like in a long-term romantic relationship with somebody, many of us have experienced almost like two train tracks. And one train keeps going and one train doesn't. And the more one grows and one doesn't, the further that chasm becomes. And the further that becomes, the more exacerbated it is, like the more glaring it is. Yeah. And like right now in your life, like here you are in Texas. Texas is, if there was one state that just said, we're not going to participate with COVID, it would be Texas. Like it would just be Texas that would just say, we're just not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Like we don't have COVID here, not going to do it. We don't mess with that stuff. Like this is Texas. Like if there was one place, you're it. And of course you've been impacted. But depending on where you are in the country, like you're either 3 or 4 weeks on the short end and 7, almost 8 weeks on the long end. Like if you go to Seattle, they were 2 weeks into stay-at-home orders before anybody was even talking about it. Like they were doing that stuff. Like New York City, they were doing that. It was before it was cool. Much of that is beginning to lift off a little bit. The challenge is where that puts you right now is you've got some plays in your real estate business that if you don't use them right now, they're going to be worthless in 2 weeks. You've got a few things that you can be doing today, like not tomorrow, not the next day, right freaking now. That if you don't do them, they're going to come and go. That bus is like, it's like you're sitting at a bus stop and the bus comes up and stops. But if you don't get on it real fast, the bus driver keeps moving. And there's some plays in your real estate business that if you don't do them right now, it's going to leave. They won't be relevant in 2 or 3 weeks. They won't matter. You've got a couple of things that have a tremendous impact if you do them, but if you don't, it won't come back.
And what are those? What are you saying that they need to do? Because a lot of us have heard, make your care calls, take care of your people, reach out, they're home. And, So what else can you add?
Those need to be over. Care calls are fine, but it better be a care call with business on top of it. You are back to business at this point. The first couple of weeks, it was very, and even the first couple of weeks was almost very timid. Like, you know what? And I was teaching this script because it's appropriate for the moment. How are you and what do you need? How are you and what do you need? Didn't even talk about real estate. Today, it better be how are you, what do you need, how's real estate look in your future right now? You better bring it back up. And the reason it's appropriate today is that big business always goes before we do. No matter how big my company gets, I'm never going to be Nike. No matter how big my organization gets, I'm never going to be Hewlett Packard. Like I'm never going to be those companies. I'm never going to be Microsoft. My group today will sell in 105 or 106 different cities. To a typical agent, they go, wow, that's really big. To Nike, they go, that's not a bad start. Don't give up on yourself. And so there's always perspective, right? Always perspective. But the bigs, like I got an email yesterday from Nordstrom. And remember the emails you got from businesses when COVID really happened, like when it was first new. You and I, all we did was read emails about people's cleaning practices. That's all we got. Email after email after email. Hey, everybody, want to let you know how we're handling COVID here. And it's like, I don't care. You're going to wipe down the counters. I don't care. I don't need to see 10 more things. I don't need to see it. But in the last 24 to 48 hours and in the last week even, you're seeing big business make offers again. I saw an email from Southwest Airlines offering low fares again. Like that's the first email they've sent out about like a low fare calendar since COVID really hit. And so when you see big business beginning to do it, it's okay for you to do it. Nordstrom sent me an email and it didn't mention COVID. It just said, hey, here's 3 pairs of shoes that based on what you buy and your buying history, you might like these 3 shoes. Check them out. So when big business does it, you're next. You've got to jump right in. This is your time. It's still, how are you? It's still, what do you need? And you go right into real estate. You are okay to go back to selling. 100% completely okay to go back to selling. And there's no judgment to it. There's no right or wrong. It's okay to sell again. There's a couple of plays. So one play that everybody on this call should be doing right now, if you're not, is publishing a daily update on your city or your MLS or whatever's appropriate. Like if you're hyper local, like it depends if you focus on macro or micro. But if you're really focused on micro, like just a neighborhood, just attractive homes or a geographic farm or a sociographic farm, stay away from schizophrenic farms. They're not good. But whatever it is that you do, I just said do, and the 12-year-old laughs every time I say it. Though whatever it is that you do, what I want you to create is a snapshot. So 2 months ago, you would have bothered everybody with a 24-hour snapshot of sales in your area. They've been like, I don't care, get that out of here. And 2 months from now, you're probably going to bother everybody with a 24-hour update. Though right now, this moment is hot, people will actually care. People will actually look. There's 3 words if you're going to market online, and the 3 words that you have to know are stop the scroll. You think about how people scroll through Facebook or Instagram, right? And so as you're going through it, you have to be able to stop the scroll. And so one of them is, and if you don't, then it doesn't matter what you post. Like it's irrelevant what you post. So that daily update, imagine you went to a party tonight. By the way, how many of you would love to go to a party tonight? Raise your hand. Like you would just love to go to an event. Like you don't even like people. You were basically quarantined before COVID hit and you would still go to a party tonight. Like that's me. Like I'm kind of that guy. And it's like, I'm not going to the party. You can invite me. I mean, I'm going to be hurt if you don't invite me, but I'm still not coming. But at this point, I'm like, invite me. I'll come to everything. Like I'm never gonna cancel again. I promise you, I won't do you wrong. Just invite me again. All right. So here's my point.
I'm sending you a ticket on low fare on Southwest.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Southwest does not have first class, so I'm not doing it anymore. That's funny though, because on Southwest, it's all about marketing. They come on the speaker and they go, "Hey, everybody, blah blah blah. Welcome to the plane, blah blah blah." At Southwest, you're all in first class, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, "I've been in first class. This isn't it. Like it doesn't look like this. I've been there. This ain't it." All right, so back to what I was talking about. If you did go to a party tonight, everybody you talk to, the second they find out you're a real estate agent, they're going to ask you what?
How's the market?
Yes, and everybody does anyway, but 99% of the time it's small talk. This is the only time it's not small talk. This is the only time that they actually mean, how the hell's the market? Like, this is weird. Is it affecting us? Is it down? Is it up? Have things fallen? Are things cheaper? Like they actually mean it. Now, for the majority of the basis of time, the only way to answer the question correctly of how's the market at a normal, take COVID out, at a normal event is with a question. By the way, you're paid in proportion to the questions that you ask, not the answers that you give. And so when someone says, how's the market? You ought to say, well, why do you ask? Or what causes you to ask? Or what makes you curious? Or however you want to say it, basically why? You don't just give an answer, you ask why, and you find out because they're thinking of buying or they're thinking of selling or whatever. Anyway, back to COVID. When someone says, how's the market right now, they actually mean it. So everybody on here could post something every single day and it actually has legs. Here's what happened in the last 24 hours. Here's how many escrows, here's how many canceled, here's how many new listings. I need you to stop with the, and I love the memes. Like if there's someone that loves memes, you're looking at them. I love them. Send me all the funny memes. Every funny meme about real estate, send them to me. Keep them off your own walls. You're better than that. You've only got so much eyeball space for your prospective buyers and sellers. Please don't squander it on something that's just pandering. Please don't squander it on something that's not going to make a difference. You've only got so much opportunity right now. While people, so Facebook will tell you that eyeballs on Facebook are up about 200% right now. As Facebook will tell you that, guess what's also up? The number of posts. Guess what's also up? other people saying things. There's a ton of traffic, if you will. So you've got to be careful and make sure that what you put actually matters. And I think you're better than the jokes. I love the jokes. I mean, if you know me, like I'm always joking, and I think that's fine. But I think that as an industry, we should share those memes with each other, not our buyers and sellers. So I love the meme where she's showing a home and she goes, so can you see yourself being quarantined here? Like, I like it. I think it's funny, but it's not going to make you a sale. It's not going to make a bit of difference. The meme that says something like, hey, call me in 9 months when you've had a baby because of COVID and you need a bigger home, or you can't stand your spouse anymore. Like, I love all those. I think they're funny, but you're better than that. You're better than that. Our industry's better than that. I also, if I could wave a magic wand, I would get all my friends in real estate. This is all I do for a living. I would get all my friends in real estate to stop with the waving of the flag saying, remember me. Remember me, I'm still working right now. Remember me, I'm an essential employee. Well, you know what? The gas station guy's an essential employee too, so just keep that in mind. Though quit waving the flag saying, call me, call me, call me. You're better than that. Here's what you can do. Every day, and to me it's a day, the news cycle today is so fast, you can do things that you couldn't do 2 months ago that you won't be able to do 2 months from now. The news cycle is so quick, you can run this play every day. Every day you should post something about a family doing something in real estate. You should say, hey, the Wallace family just closed on a home and they bought it for 3% less than they probably would have 2 months ago. By the way, do we have any idea what this is going to do to real estate prices? Anybody on here know the future that could tell me how this will or won't affect real estate pricing?
No, we don't know. We just have assumptions. I mean,
Yeah, so quit it. Like, I can't tell you how many of my friends are going online saying, hey, everybody, this will not affect real estate pricing. Get the hell out of here. You have no idea if this will affect real estate pricing. You don't know. So don't say things that you can't control. The truth is this, will it affect pricing? Yes, it already has. The question should be, will it affect it long term? That we don't know. That we have no idea. Is it affecting right now? Yes. You look at the credit score, right? Like the minimum credit score went from 580 to 620. That removed, killed, pinned to the wall, never to be seen again, in the trash can, 27% of all active files at mortgage companies across the country. 27% will not qualify at 620 because they're 590, 595, 602. You can't tell me if 25% of the buyers cannot buy tomorrow that doesn't have some impact on pricing. Are you kidding me? Of course it does. Now, that's usually your entry level buyer. So depending on where you sell or don't sell, that could have a bigger or smaller impact on you. If you represent a builder and that builder is almost exclusively entry-level homes, guess what? That credit score issue is a massive issue. Yeah. If all you do is work with jumbo type loans and 650 homes and $900,000 homes, probably doesn't mean a darn to you. You probably don't even care. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it will absolutely have an impact on pricing. I was on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and the guy was like, tell everybody why this is different than 2008. And the gist of the question was, please assuage everybody's fears that we're in the next real estate recession. And I said, I can't do that. I don't know if we're in the next real estate recession. Here's what I do know. We've been saying for about 4 years, anytime now, something's going to happen. Right. We're 4 years deep into that. What I know is historically is this. I know two things. I know that I'm terrible at math unless it has to do with 3 and 6%. I know that's a factual statement. However, I also know that about every 8 to 12 years, something tremendous happens in our industry and shakes everything up. Those two things I know. I know those two things. And the person was saying, well, but isn't this time different? And I kind of lost my cool. And I said, yeah, they're all different though, Scooter. Like, come on. Every single time the industry has massively shifted, it's been something different. So you think about real estate recessions. One, like if you go back to like 1910 or 1920, one is due to war. Yeah, okay. One's due to technology. One's due to lending practices. One's due to interest rates. One's due to inflation. One's due to the GDP. One's due to oil prices. Like I lived in Alaska when oil dropped down to like $26 or $24 a barrel. And then it dropped down to $9 a barrel. Now, people that are in Texas, you guys get it. Like you're part of that oil curve. Like it absolutely impacts you like that. Well, where's oil right now?
Yeah, negative. It was negative.
Like the oil company's not going to sell you any, but if they sold you some, they'd have to give you money to take the oil. Yes. I read the other day that we have 8 months reserves of oil if everything tomorrow was the same usage as 2 months ago. 8 months. not to mention the drilling, not to mention more oil reserves. I mean, this is going to play out at some level for all of us. This is a world scale. And the thing is, like, there's nowhere to point the finger. The last time, like in '08, we could point the finger at lending practices. Where do you point the finger at this? This could be in our lifetime. This could be the real estate recession that you need. This could be the real estate recession that we point the finger to and say that was health. Like, that was health related. By the way, this is so incredibly different. There's no telling what this means. I was talking with someone the other day, and they said, did you think about how, like, our kids and their kids might not even know what a handshake is?
Wow.
And you think about it. I mean, I've only lived in America, right? And so for me, like, we're only a generation away from, like, a grandfather telling a young man or a grandmother telling a young lady, like, give a good strong handshake. Like, that's a piece of who you are. Well, you know what? There's lots of countries out there, like China being one of them. They don't shake hands. Like, their culture, like their cultural difference. When I'm speaking in LA and there's someone like Chinese that's in the room, they walk up, they won't even shake your hand. And it has nothing to do with good or bad or right or wrong or judgment, none of that stuff. But you see real quick that we do more of this than this. Mm-hmm. All right, so another play that you can do right now that didn't work yesterday and probably won't work tomorrow, meaning you have like 2 months to do it. You've got the daily update, absolutely do it. That one would also work for the Facebook A to Z. Everybody should be doing what's called a Facebook A to Z, which is a stupid, simple model, which are the ones that work usually. You don't need a long-term solution for a short-term problem. And COVID's a short-term problem, whether it's going to be 40 days or 30 days or 90 days or 90 days. Like, I heard one economist who's way smarter than me say this is a 75-day issue with a 200-day tail. I don't even know what that means. I don't know, but I know that we're probably going to be talking COVID 6 months from now. There's going to be something there. I do know that. You know, maybe we lift some restrictions. And by the way, if we lift restrictions and governors start seeing a spike in anything, what do you think happens to the restrictions?
They bring them back and they
Put
get
them right back on, right? And so, like, to me, like, I'm getting used to I'm getting used to what life looks like right now. And my greatest fear is that we reduce the restrictions and then have to go back to this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surviving okay right now, but if I can go to my favorite restaurant in 2 weeks and then 2 weeks later I can't, I don't know who I'm going to be. Like, if you let me do it and then I can't again, I'm not sure I can handle that kind of stress. Right. So yeah, I don't know where I fall on that, but I do know this. I do know that it's beginning to lift. Like Montana, which only has like 10 people who live there anyway, but Montana last Sunday lifted almost all of their restrictions. Mm. And next Sunday is lifting the rest of them. But here's my point. I'll circle back to what you can do right now. Everybody on here should be promoting content and pushing content. Mm-hmm. Two things about content. Number one, it doesn't have to be amazing to be content. So just start. And number two, it's going to have to be video and audio. And you're going to have to get over it. And so for all my friends who say things like, I don't like how I look on video, you don't look any better in real life.
Wow,
like, this is just the way it is, my man. Like, this is what you got. This is what you got. It's how it is. Like, my mom said I had a face for radio. That's what I got. Like, this is what we have. For people that say they don't like how they sound, you don't sound any better in real life. This is it, man. This is it. So my point to you is this. The world loves video. Look at just in the last 5 years, forget COVID. COVID comes and goes. In the last 5 years, how big has video become on social media? Through the roof, right? So the world says, I want video. The realtor says, I'm not sure I like how I look. Do you see the chasm you're in? It doesn't matter. Like, you're gonna have to go here. And by the way, COVID's just sped up that process. Like, it's just sped it up. And I've got some tips. If you're gonna do more video and more audio, and I think that you should, here's some easy tips. Number one, don't invest a bunch of money. You don't need to. If you want to, go right ahead. I have an amazing studio in my home office, and I've had it for 2 or 3 years. Like, I've been running a real estate team virtually for years. So that part's not new to me. if you want a complete shopping list of every piece of equipment that we have in my studio, we've published it. We've sent it out to hundreds of people. If you want it, you can have it. Just go to Fidelity and they can get it for you. They'll give you the list. It's fine. Here's what I want you to know. If you're going to spend any money, spend it on lighting. Some of you look terrible, so stop it. Like some of you, for a $60 light, you could be back to your amazing self. And you don't look bad, but your lighting is garbage. Yeah. And if you saw that from someone, you'd be like, I'm not even gonna listen to them. And so I need you to put yourself through that same filter. For $60, you can have a great LED light that's gonna show how you actually look. So if you're gonna spend any money, most of us could do most of this on an iPhone. You've already got, I mean, there's probably one person out there that walks the earth still that has an Android, but for everybody else, they have an iPhone. And so the majority of us could do, it's always the Android user. It's like, that's not fair. Well, I don't create the world. For the $60 light and an iPhone, like you're set. If you're going to spend money, spend it on lighting and spend it on a tripod. That's it. That's it. And if you want to spend more money, go to audio from there. Do a Bluetooth microphone or whatever you want to do is fine. Doesn't matter. You don't need to spend a lot. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to push content, push content, push content. There's a really good opportunity right now to be seen as the expert in your market. You should be shooting videos right now, if it's appropriate, standing in front of school districts, saying, hey, I'm over here in front of XYZ school district. Here's what they're, I mean, do you know what your high schools are doing for graduation?
No, not, I mean, I know some of them are saying they're going to do a video stream. Some are saying they're going to let them come in person, and some are saying they're not going to do anything at all. So
every real estate agent should be promoting this to their database. Good. Whether you have kids, I mean, I happen to have a son who's in his senior year of high school. So I happen to have a young man cub who his senior year, his prom and his graduation are not going to be like everybody else's. And so whether you do or don't is irrelevant. Your database does. Yeah. And even if they don't, they're curious because everybody on here has had a graduation and a prom. Well, that's actually not true because I never went back after the 9th grade, so I don't have a graduation. But if I did, I'd remember what one looked like. And here's my point to it. You should be standing in front of a school talking about what this looks like. Hey, here's what XYZ school district is doing, just so you guys know. By the way, in the video, you make a comment about buying homes in XYZ school district. Back in the old days of real estate, we used to do websites. And at the bottom of the website, like this was like 04, 06, 02, we would put a bunch of terms. We would write a 3-bedroom home, Deer Park. We would write a 2-bedroom home with a view, like just a whole bunch of words. And all that was is they were called meta tags. And Google would send creepers and crawlers, spiders that would go into your website, and it would find those terms and push it up on the organic search engine. And that's how you got organic hits. Well, that doesn't work anymore. Like that doesn't work. If you put all that there, Google actually pushes you further down. So that's why we don't do it anymore. But what Google does do today, why do you think they bought YouTube? What Google does do is they do read, and this is why it's so important for video right now, such a big deal. Google is reading and digesting the words you use on video. So when you shoot a 2-minute video on YouTube and put it on YouTube about XYZ school district and homes, you put those things together, Google says real estate, XYZ school district. And it goes further up on the organic search engine. It is easier than ever to show up on the organic hits, easier than ever. And when you search, people are getting very, very smart to this. The ads still work. Like I still do it. I mean, I'll spend, we've cut our spending and I'll still spend $30,000 this month on Google AdWords. I mean, it's still a big play in my business. But when you search something, it'll say ad, organic, organic, organic. People like the organic stuff. So everybody should be shooting videos. And here's a couple of quick tips. Number 1, don't spend a bunch of money. You don't need to. Number 2, shoot it one time and publish it. In real life, how many second chances do you get?
Once.
You don't, yeah, you get once. You go to a listing presentation and you bomb it. I've bombed lots. You don't get to say, wait. I could do better. You can't do that and come back in. You get one shot. And if you blow it, you blow it. If you're talking to one partner and the other one gets offended because they make the big, whatever it is, like whatever you misread in real life. And so that's how I treat video. It's one shot, it's one video, and publish the thing. Just imagine it's real life. If you're standing in front of that school district and someone's talking to you, you don't get to take 2 takes. The reason I do that though, is that I'm a perfectionist kind of like you. meaning if I watch the video, there's always something to do better, which means now I'm 14 videos deep to do one. You don't have the time for that. You don't have it. So it's one shot, publish it. By the way, what's going to happen is you're going to publish it, and 100 videos from now, you're going to organically get better. You're going to naturally get better, but you're going to have 100 videos out there that nobody else has. Your realtors that you work with, that you compete with, if you will, like we're a cooperation type business, they're not doing it. And you've got to be doing it. So another play that works only during COVID. I want you to go to, someone said, how many pieces of content? You can't do too much. Here's somebody I want you to go follow. If you're offended by foul language, then I don't know what to say, but go follow Gary V. Go follow Gary Vaynerchuk. And what you're going to find, he would be considered today a digital content king. And here's, so someone says, he says 10. So yes, that's fantastic. But if you follow Gary V, he'll put so much content out, even if you like what he says, you won't listen to it all. You're like, I can't take any more right now, I'm good, but it's always right in front of you. Now, 10 years from now, if you just Google Gary V, you're gonna find it. 10 years from now, someone's gonna write a book about what Gary V did that worked and what he did that didn't work, but you don't know that today. That's 10 years from now, so don't worry about it. But you follow someone who's successful with it. That's what modeling is. That's how you benchmark and trend. So, all right, so back to this. What I want you to do, everybody on here should be able to go do this. I want you to go find a couple of businesses, and I'll deal with Facebook A to Z. Lacey, if I forget that, would you mention Facebook A to Z before we're done? Everybody should go find a handful of businesses, and what I want you to do is host a mastermind for them. Here's what's important, and I want you to write this down. Whoever people are hearing from today is going to dictate who they listen to tomorrow. Let me say it again. Whoever people are hearing from today dictates who they're listening to tomorrow. You know, somebody asked me to get on a webinar, and I said, what do you want me to talk about? And they said, we need you to tell us how to push somebody off the fence to get them to buy right now. And I said, with all due respect, I'm not going to do your webinar. Number one, I don't think realtors have that, that power or place. And number two, if we did, I think it's inappropriate. My job is not to push somebody into making a decision. My job might be to ask questions so somebody makes a decision and they buy or they don't buy, and I'm the facilitator of the process. I don't own anything else. That's it. Like I'm not here to talk them into anything. By the way, I've talked people into sales only to have them die 10 days later. No offense, but I don't sell cars. And so when they buy from me and they drive off the lot, we're not done. Like I put them into an agreement and we're not closing for 40 days or 50 days. If you close at Fidelity, they'll close in 29 days. But I don't get to do that. And so my challenge is like, I don't get to control it. And those are always the ones that backfire on me. Those are always the ones that blow up on me. So I won't talk about it. But here's what I will say is this. You get these businesses together and whoever they're hearing from today dictates who they're listening to tomorrow. I'm not buying a home right now. I love real estate. My entire business is real estate related, and I'm not buying a home right now. You know why? Because I'm going to wait 30 days or 60 days and see what happens. And everybody who thinks that's a good or bad decision, I don't care, because you live yours and I live mine. Somebody put a business in front of Gary last week, and Gary said, thank you, but I'm not interested during COVID right now. And you could talk till you're blue in the face about, well, that's a great opportunity you might miss. And Gary goes, great, then go buy it. I'm telling you where I'm at with it. Fair? So I got a whole bunch of people that I love and know that are like, hey, I ain't selling right now. I'm not going to do it. And I'm not buying right now. And they're not wrong. But there's 3 Ds that always create real estate sales. They always have and they always will. So you'll want to write these down. There's death, there's divorce, and there's the job. Like those are the 3 things that are always going to create some type of real estate opportunity. And even during COVID is a tough animal, and death, divorce, the job, those things still exist. Yeah. And so all of a sudden, this is like December the 18th and it's Groundhog's Day every day. December 18th in your market, there's probably fewer sales than August 18th, probably fewer sales than June 18th. December 18th is not an amazing week. However, the seller who says, show my house, is motivated on December 18th. The buyer that says, show me homes, instead of going to a party or going shopping for their kids or whatever, they're motivated. And so in your real estate market, this is like December 18th every single day. There's probably fewer buyers, probably fewer sellers. If they don't have to move, they're not going to. But this is that one moment in time, only it's extended right now. where they're both highly motivated. I promise you, your showings are probably down and your escrows might not be down very much. One of the things I would push you to go do is go look at your escrows for your market. Go to Fidelity, they'll help you with this. Look at your escrows for the month of March and then compare it for the month of April. You might be surprised that you're not down very much. There's some areas that are still current, like doing the same number. Here's the problem though. Like in my own real estate business, April is going to track about the same as March. Mm-hmm. To a degree, I could not be happier about that. To a degree, I'm like, yes, all right, thank you, baby Jesus. This is amazing. I'm so glad that the other part of it though, is that April was supposed to be almost double March. Oh, yeah. So no matter what, there's a hole in this industry that we don't get to backfill. You go to that coffee shop, you're going to buy 1 cup of coffee after 60 days of being away. You're not going to buy 60 cups to backfill the 60 days that you weren't there. Right. You go to your favorite bar, you should only get 1 drink. Don't buy 60 drinks for the 2 months that you haven't been able to go. If you're going to, let me know when and where and I'll meet you there. But it's not going to happen. And so businesses are going to have this hole in their business. I talked to Gary on the phone probably 4 Fridays ago, and I said, blank, blank, blank. I said something, and he said, stop right there. That doesn't matter anymore. Mm-hmm. I said, what? And he goes, yeah, 2020 is shot. You're going to look back at 2020, and you're never going to think about the sales you did. The only thing you're going to think, and I want you to write this down, he said this. He said, you're not going to worry about whether you hit your goal or not. I mean, our goal was to sell 2,200 homes this year in my real estate business. At this point today, I'm going to be freaking thrilled if we don't go backwards from last year, which was 1,300. Guess what we're probably not going to do? 2,200. And someone goes, well, that's negative thinking. Go pump your sunshine somewhere else. You get to run your business and I get to run mine. The reality is I'm going to live in a world that I have to live in that world. I don't get to control it, though I get to work in it. Here's what I'll say as well. He said the only thing you're going to think about when it relates to 2020 in the future is who you became during that year.
Oh, that's good.
And I would push you to heck with the sales. By the way, if you got to sell to eat, I feel you, man. Like I'm there too. Like if I don't sell, I don't eat. I'm okay on reserves. I mean, being completely transparent, I'm okay on reserves. But if this goes hard for 3 months, I don't have that. I've got enough businesses that have enough expenses that it could completely sink me in 3 months. Mm-hmm. Hung out with a friend yesterday from 6 feet apart. That's not true, but don't tell anybody. Hung out with a friend yesterday, and he's worked for 3M for 22 years and just got laid off. Wow. Life's tough out there, man. Like the unemployment rate is through the roof. And to say that doesn't have an impact on real estate, that's just dumb. Like you just wait. It's going to show up. And there's no doom and gloom for me because when one door closes, one door opens. The restaurant in your market that doesn't reopen because they can't, there's probably someone who's been dreaming about opening a restaurant that says, now my space is open. Right. So as hard as that is, another opportunity opens. You know, Gary made the comment, he said, Cody, there's a really good chance. He goes, if this does what I think it could do, our board of realtors could go from 1.2 million to 700,000. You're going to feel a gaping, sucking sound out of our industry if that happens. By the way, for all of us that stay in the industry, is there opportunity in that?
Absolutely.
100% there's 100% opportunity in that, but you don't get to control it. You do have to play in it. You don't get to make the rules. You do get to choose how you play. So in synopsis, a couple last minute thoughts. Who you become right now and who you're being right now is more important than what you're doing. This is the time that you don't, this isn't the time to profiteer. That doesn't mean you can't sell. For the love of all things holy, I'm a salesperson. I'm going to sell whether I try to or not. Right. But this isn't the time that you profit. This isn't the time that you do that. One of my favorite comedians who lives in Texas, I'm on his email campaign. And I saw an email, it was like 3 weeks ago. And it said, hey, everybody, because I can't travel, I still love humor. I'm going to do Friday night, sign up here. And I thought, oh, that's awesome. And I went to sign up and there was a paywall. And I immediately went, no, man, that's not the play. It was only like $10. And I'm like, no. This is where you do it for free. This is the one time you go online and you tell jokes for free. You don't charge people. And I want you to think about that in your business. This isn't where you charge people. Now, I'm not saying that you don't go and charge a commission. Of course you do. What I'm saying is right now, it is value. You look at a fire and you just put value on it, and you put value on it. You wake up and you go, who can I provide value to right now? You don't need to think the end of the year. I'm not thinking the end of the year because I don't know what's going to happen. Like if we come out of this a little bit and we get slammed right back into it, I got no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. So what I'm thinking when I wake up is this: where's my opportunity before lunch? Who can I impact by lunch? Like this is, people go, well, you know, how does your life look right now, Code? How do I help before lunch? And then great. And then at lunchtime, I'm going to eat 25 hard-boiled eggs. And then right after lunch, I'm going to say, all right, who can I help before dinner time? Like, where can I provide value? And then you know what? I'm working like you are right now. You should be working almost around the clock. If you're not, you're missing an opportunity. If you're not, my opinion, you're being selfish. This is the time that you say, listen, world, I'm going to help. Listen, world, we're just going to do things that bring value to people. And if you're not doing those things right now, I think you're selfish. I don't know how else to say that. Darn it, you're better than that.
Exactly.
This isn't a 2-month break. This isn't a 2-month vacation to stay at home. This is 2 months to look at the world and say, maybe I could be doing it this way. Who you become, there's going to be somebody on stage next year at Reunion or Mega Camp that Gary's going to put on stage and interview, and he's like, that's an amazing idea. When did you do it? They're going to say COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It was during COVID I did this, and my business is now way up here. I've quadrupled or quintupled or 10x'd my business, or whatever term you want to put around it, and it happened during this time. This is your opportunity. This isn't the opportunity to wait. It's the opportunity to take action. And the action today is more important than it being correct. So doing anything is better than doing nothing right now.
So 2 things. I love all of that. A to Z. And also I want to ask you, because you're always so positive, you know, what feeds you and what gets you to that place? I know you're naturally gifted and blessed with that, but what people that are not so gifted with that, where can they go? And besides Gary Vee, what else do you recommend?
I don't think anybody's gifted with that. I just don't. I was raised by 2 pot farmers, and the first job I can remember doing was we had pot patches all over Northern California, and we would drive old Forest Service roads, and we would have these little pot patches of 10 or 20 patches. And we would go out in the middle of the night, and Dad's pickup truck had like a waterbed bladder in the back, and that was the water. And we'd go to these pot patches, and there'd be like a little rock that would tell us where the patch was. We'd walk to the plants and we'd water them. This was before pot was legal and cool. This was back when it was just dirty. We'd go and we'd water the patches. And then my job at like 6 years old, my brother, we would take branches, and our job was to sweep up the tracks walking back to the truck. That way people couldn't drive the roads, because they knew there was only one reason you'd walk off the road in the middle of nowhere. Like, these were all drug users, drug lords, drug rings. I mean, anyway, long story short, I grew up in that environment. I grew up in an environment where I remember once, like, my parents shouldn't have been parents. My mom looked at us one day and said to my brother and I, she said, I never wanted to be a parent, and now I've got the 2 of you. And you can't call me mom from now on. You can call me ma'am or Mrs. Ivan. And to a 6-year-old, that goes in a little box that's labeled rejection.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is so many of us avoid things in our life because we're afraid of rejection. The truth is, if we call it rejection, we're going to feel it that way. So I walked off stage one day and someone looked at me and they said, Cody, I want to be just like you. And I thought they were stupid at this point already. They said, I'll be just like you. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, I want to be great with rejection. And I said, why? Why on earth would you ever want to be great with rejection? Rejection sounds terrible. And they said, no. I want it to be second nature. I said, well, I hope it's never second nature for you. Why would you want so much rejection that it's second nature? I said, I think what you've done is you confused my ability to ask a question and live with a no with my ability to like rejection. I hate rejection, and you should too. You should never have enough. I would never want you to have enough for this to be second nature to you. The problem is you're still allowing people that sell homes or buy homes with you to have any ability to reject you. The only person who can reject you is somebody that might be at your deathbed. That mother that tells their son, I disown you. That son that tells their dad, you're no longer my dad. That's rejection, my friend. Those things are rejection. And for as many people that are on this call, every one of you have had something in your life that's true rejection. And I promise you, it's not some FSBO that says, I'm going to sell it myself. That's not rejection. That's just someone who doesn't realize they have a 91% chance of listing with an agent still. That's not rejection. But if you take it as it, no wonder you avoid it so much.
That's
And
beautiful.
some of you are still avoiding lead generation even during COVID, not because of COVID. You're not even at COVID level yet. You're still avoiding rejection, which doesn't even exist. But if you say it exists, it does. I came home one day from a trip and my wife sat me down and said, listen, I don't know if I loved you in the beginning, but I know I don't love you today. And I've been having an affair with the person I knew before you. That lives in a little box called rejection. And we all move on. Now, I'm the only one talking, but there's a whole bunch on this call. Every one of you have had yours. I'm just the one sharing my sob story. You've got yours. So my point to it is this. Rejection only exists this much in your life. But if you give it this much credit, it will rule your world. It'll be all that you can feel, all that you can have, and all that you can experience. And you think about the experience that we're in. So back to being positive all the time, I say that to say, I don't come from an environment, like I didn't grow up, like my son wrote a Post-it note the other day, and he's been seeing my Post-it notes his whole life, right? And it's bothered everyone I've ever been in a relationship with, it's bothered to no end. But he started writing Post-it notes, and one note that he wrote on his wall that his mom sent me a picture of was this. It said, see if I can get it right. I don't have to be a product of my own thoughts.
Wow.
He's 18. Do you have any idea how proud I am to see an 18-year-old young man admit I don't have to be a product of my own thoughts?
Powerful.
Like that was incredible, like over the top. But here's my point to it. I don't think that people are positive. I don't think anybody comes out of the womb and they won the birthright lottery of being a positive person. I think that they make the choice or they don't. And each and every one of us gets to choose our reaction. We don't get to choose the event. We don't. The event happens to us. I mean, COVID happens to us. We didn't choose that.
Right.
Maybe the one person who didn't wash your hands on here, maybe you did choose it, but the rest of us didn't choose it. Like I saw a meme and it was like Jesus coming out from behind a curtain and he's like, hey, I just took a quick break. What's going on out here? And someone said, somebody ate a bat and now I don't have a job. Like that pretty much describes COVID for the vast majority. And what's funny is that we all became doctors, right? Like go to Facebook, like as soon as COVID hit, we are all therapists, we are all doctors, we are all experts. I don't know anything.
Right.
I do know real estate and I do know people. And I know that if you offer enough value to enough people, they're going to work with you. This isn't rocket science. I was going to fly out to Boston right before this hit. And I said, what do you want me to talk about? And they said, we want you to come out here and talk about iBuyers. I'm like, all right, we can talk about iBuyers. Guess what no one's talking about today? iBuyers. Doesn't matter today. And Jason Abrams said this. So if you post it online and give credit, give it to Jason Abrams. He said, the way that you beat technology is you become more human. And COVID has given you and served it to you on a platter, the ability to be more human. And I think that play, even when COVID's over, whatever that means, I think that plays for 6 to 10 months later. Like there's just a drive, there's a need, there's a yearning, there's a hunger for human interaction. Like I'm going to go to a restaurant, I don't even like the food because there's going to be a human being there and they're going to bring it to me and it's going to be awesome. And it's better than me serving myself. All right, so Facebook A to Z real quick. Facebook A to Z, you've got 26 letters in the alphabet and you got 30 days out of the month. What you do is today you send a direct message, you DM everybody whose first name or last name starts with A. Tomorrow, this is a really tricky model, so hang on to your hats, everybody. Tomorrow you send a DM to everybody whose first or last name starts with B. For the men listening, because I know we get confused easily, the next day is C. Then it's D, and then it's E. This is so simple. And here's what happens. Basically, every single month, you're going to send a direct message to everybody in Facebook every single month. Here's where I took the idea. I took the idea for his name is Ryan up in Canada. Incredible agent, owns a local independent in just outside of Ottawa. I forget the name of the city. Great guy. Anyway, you're going to miss one day, and that's okay. You just pick it up the next day. What that means is every single month, everyone's going to hear from you. Now, last year, we've always done this. We keep track of our business source so that we can go back and say what to put more money into, what to do more training on. We sold 1,300 homes last year, and our number 5 or number 6 source of business was Facebook A to Z.
Wow.
Anything in my top 10, I'm doing more of it. Anything in my top 20, I'm not sure I'm going to do more of it. Some of it's just going to, like, one of our sources is random conversations. That's a source. Like, you're at Starbeezy and we used to go to Starbeezy. Like back in the old days when you went to buy a cup of coffee somewhere by a human being, you would talk to the person next to you. That's not a source of business. I mean, unless you're going to say go to Starbucks more often, that's not a source of business that you're going to increase, but you can track it anyway. So we like to track everything. But I say all that to say this: as cheesy and low level, which are usually your best models, as Facebook A to Z is my number 6 was 1,300 sales last year. Number 5 or number 6, one of the two. I don't even want, you would have just believed me what I said. I should have said number 6 and left it at that, because 78% of people believe anything if you say it with passion. Here's what I do want you to do with the Facebook A to Z. There's a few rules to it. Number 1, it can't be real estate related, which is really easy right now. Everybody in your data bank, in which Facebook's one of them, you go to and you, like, if you're sending all the A's today, what do we have coming up? I get confused. What happens in the spring? Memorial Day or Labor Day? Memorial Day. So, I mean, unless I'm wrong, I mean, Texas kind of does its own thing. Do you guys celebrate Memorial Day? We
do.
Like, I mean, you just like never know what the Texans are going to do. Like, they're going to be there one day or they're not. They're going to be part of it or they're not. Like, who knows? Like, you might be your own country. Like, I have no idea. But Memorial Day, every single person in your Facebook A to Z, you know what an appropriate question is? Hey, what are you guys doing for Memorial Day this year? This is going to be the one Memorial Day that we're always going to remember. What are you going to do?
That's good.
That's an easy one. And then you know what you have in June? Something about school. You know what you have this fall? Something about going back to school. Guess what you have in July? Something about the 4th of July. Guess what you have in December? You have Christmas. Like, you have like 8 or 7 easy ones that you don't even have to come up with something snazzy. You don't need to come up with something interesting. You just need to be relevant. You know what you could do? You could send a Facebook A to Z about Tiger King.
Have you watched that?
You can literally do anything, but here's the rules. It's not real estate related. Number 2, it's short. So keep it brief. Blessed are the short-winded. Think about Twitter. If you're going to put a tweet, it's a character limit. I think it's 240 or 260. And all that means is somebody way smarter than me said this is about how many words you can say that somebody might actually read. By the way, 13%. I want you to write the number down, 13%. Unfortunately, it's not the new proposed commission rate. 13% is the percentage of emails that big business will tell you will usually get opened. 13%. So for as hard as you rack your brain to write just the right email to your database, you are lucky, my friend, if 13% open the thing. So keep it in perspective. Write it, send it. 13% are going to open it anyway. We don't even know what percentage read it. It won't be more than 13%. I'm no mathematician, but I know that to be true. It's going to be 13 minus something. So the Facebook A to Z, direct, personal, not business related. By the way, it's kind of like text marketing. Your text marketing today should be through the roof. You should be texting so much, copy and paste. Like, if you look in the notes section of my iPhone, you'll find like all kinds of notes, probably 20 that I'll use again and again and again. Just copy and paste. Keep it fast, keep it simple. And so you copy and paste these texts. Now, text marketing, we send out tens and tens and tens of thousands a month in our company. Some of the things we learned about text marketing that work even more during COVID right now. Number 1, a misspelled word, which comes naturally to me. I didn't finish high school. We already shared that tidbit of glorious information. So misspelling a word comes naturally. That has a higher rate of return from people. Number 2, bad punctuation. Now, some of you are cringing inside. There's 2 types of people on this Zoom call right now.
I'm curious.
Everyone texts, but there's 2 types that text. One person reads it and goes, nah, they'll figure it out, and they hit send. The other person goes, nope, I gotta fix it. Here's the deal. I can almost guarantee you I never meant to type duck. So people will figure it out. I'm the person that goes, this doesn't even make sense, but they get it. Here's what we know about texting. It's incredibly personal. So a misspelled word, higher rate of return. Bad punctuation, maybe not too bad. Like, you don't want to sound too dumb, though. Like, you should know your, and your, right? Like, I understand that. Though a punctuation miss, better. The third would be an emoji. When we put an emoji in text messages, we get a higher rate of return. How many of you could have an entire string of conversation with somebody with only emojis? I could totally do it. Just emojis, have the whole conversation.
Yeah.
So those are easy text messages. You should have amazing, like right now, you should be texting like crazy. Back to the business, and then I got to roll. You should grab a handful of businesses from your city. If you live more rural, just do business in general. If you live more suburban or more, what's the right term? More closer to the city than urban. Yeah, thank you. If you live more urban, then I want you to do types of businesses. So like all restaurants, all retail, all chiropractors. Do you know how broke your chiropractors are right now? They can't see people. Do you know how broke dentists are? They can't see people. Salon owners, like it is not, no one's exempt, man. So if you live in an urban area, get 10 coffee shops, like whatever it is. Here's the piece though. You go to the businesses, which you should know anyway. This is a good opportunity, good excuse. By the way, they'll talk to you. And what you do is you put it together. You say, listen, I'm going to do a webinar and a mastermind just about right now, how to pivot to what it looks like today. Though you have a play coming very soon, and the play coming very soon that's going to walk right past you if you don't take advantage is how do we re-enter the market? You could do one this week and next week on, hey, as things begin to lift, what do we do? So let me give you an example. So in Montana, I love going to Montana because it's like stepping back 50 years. There's a really high likelihood you will see somebody on a payphone if you're in Montana. Like that's the way it is. Though their deal is they're opening bars. I forget what day, but I'll be there. They're opening bars on like May 9 or May 8, whatever the day is. But you can't be within 8 feet or 6. It's either 6 or 8. I don't think it's 6 though, because I remember it being different. You can't be within a certain amount of feet of the actual bar itself. So you have to sit at a table. Well, here's the deal. Could you find 8 or 10 bar owners in your city and say, listen, if this is going to be the rule, how do we handle it? What are your best practices going to be? What do your employees do? And all you're doing is hosting the mastermind. Time out. You don't need to know the answer. You don't have the answer. That's not your job anyway. Your job is to facilitate the conversation. And what you say is, hey, bookstores, find 4 bookstores, find 6 pet stores, put them on a Zoom call and say, listen, how do we pivot right now? By the way, who would you like to see on here? And I'll make sure they get invited. And all of a sudden, now you're growing your database to it. You think about what you could do right now. So like if you're in Portland, you're not. But if you were, you could do this. And so I'm going to give you the story and then you adapt it to where you live. And this only works right now. This isn't your play in 2 months. It works right now. So I got an email yesterday afternoon from the Oregon Zoo, basically begging for money, saying, listen, we've been shut down for 40 days. Like we've lost 75% of our income. We don't have traffic, don't have ticket sales. And I'm like, that makes total sense. Never thought about the zoo in the last 45 days, but yeah, that makes total sense. This wouldn't be my play. I love animals. I was raised in Alaska. They're all very tasty. So I like animals. So this wouldn't be my play. But what you could do, if I was an agent in Portland and I was selling full time, what I would do is I would start hosting something on Zoom, and I would start doing something that was a benefit or raised money for the zoo. Everyone loves the zoo. Even if you don't like animals, you like the zoo. There's like 1% that don't, and whatever, that's a whole different conversation. But I would start hosting some type of benefit. I'd go to somebody, I'd find a local musician, or I'd find a local comedian and say, listen, let's do this, and we'll charge $10. You can't have the money, it's gonna go to the zoo. Find something in your market that most people can come to. Like it might be a local school. It might be a local shelter. Do you know how difficult it is right now for like abused women shelters or women and kid shelters? Like this is incredibly hard on them. And the things that you don't even think about, like soup kitchens, incredibly hard on them. Food banks, over the top hard on them. Find something that you care about, because if you don't care about it, that shows real easy. Find something you have passion for and do something that raises awareness or raises funds. By the way, they're not your funds.
Yeah.
You're simply raising the awareness around it. You're the bridge that people see that solves problems. You don't have to be the person that brings the solution. You're simply the bridge to it. The problem is you don't need a long-term solution for a short-term problem. You don't have 10 days to figure this out. You get off of this webinar, you choose something and you run it today and you go do it. And if you mess it up, you're going to learn from it. And if you don't mess it up, then great, good for you. Congratulations. But you don't have time to wait. You don't have 5 days to get ready. This is not ready, aim, fire. This is the period of time that it's ready, fire, aim. That's what you live right now. And then you pick it back up again and you go, well, this is where I messed it up and I'll change it. That's all the words I can say without breathing in 58 minutes.
I love it. So I'm only going to give one person an opportunity to say something to you. Keisha, can you unmic your phone? Yay! So before Cody has to run, what would you like to say to your favorite guy?
Hey, Cody. So I just want to say thank you for coming and talking to our market center. When we talked to family reunion, we told you we would get you here. Thank you for all your transparency, and we really do appreciate you.
Oh, that means the world to me. I'm so appreciative. There's two things that I'd ask this group. Number one, I would ask, if you haven't, I would ask that you go and sign up for Bold Pivot. Bold Pivot is going to be amazing. This is the one time in your career. I mean, you can't take Bold for $100. Doesn't happen. Though this is one time you could. It's going to be $99. We run for 4 weeks, 2 sessions a week. I've been a part of the writing lab to create it. This isn't the normal Bold. So for all my friends that have taken 4 Bolds or 10 Bolds or whatever, this isn't the normal one. This is like a COVID Bold. We won't call it that, but it's very, very time sensitive to where you are right now. So if you haven't, please go. Lacey, is it boldpivot.com?
It's
Yep, I have a website already set up for it.
Yeah, perfect. You already got it. Yeah, perfect. Awesome.
So can you throw a challenge out to us? We're about 35 people registered. If we get to a certain number, if we have a real Bold that you'll come and host it, we'll pay you full price, of course. But is there any number you can throw out that you'll come and teach Bold here?
We're waiting, Cody.
You know, my internet connection just went down. Did the DSL?
I'll find you. I got your cell number.
The internet's real spotty all of a sudden. It's so strange. Like there's just they're piping it down. The only I am not opposed to the idea. I'm not a no. I'm not a no. The challenge there is that it's 7 weeks. And so for me to get to Texas, it's a half a day in the air to get there the day before. And the day of Bold, I go to the airport at 3:30, catch a flight at 6, get home at midnight. And so it takes 2 days out of my life. When I teach on the West Coast, I fly there 8 o'clock the night before, and I'm home at dinner time the night of. So I'm not completely opposed to it, which is as close to a yes as I've ever been to go. I mean, I went to Denver for Bold, and that was like going back east. So when you live in Portland, like everything is east. So I'm not opposed to it. The last thing I would say is this, 2 things actually. Number one is this. We created an app. Go check it out. It's called Hippo Pulse. Complete disclosure, I own the app. You can get it on the App Store. It's also in the Android for the 2 people that have one. It allows you to track your numbers as a real estate agent. So if you've ever used like MyFitnessPal, like to track your food or to track your water or your exercise, Hippo Pulse does the same thing. It's $20 a month. If you'd like to take advantage of it and use it, go use it. If you use it for a month or 2 and it's garbage and you don't like it, send me a note. I'll send you a check for however many months you had it. Just cancel it and I'll send you a check. I don't want your money from it. But that's called Hippo Pulse. Yep, just like Heartbeat Pulse. Hippo, it's a derivative of another company I started called Swift Hippo, which is a whole different conversation as to why. But check it out. I'd be honored if you looked at it. If nothing else, look at it and give us some feedback. Tell us what to change, what to make better. It was something that we brought to the market. Gary keeps telling me, which is a note for everybody on here, write this down. He said, if you want to be successful, find a problem, provide a solution for it, and then tell everybody about it. Find a problem, provide a solution, and then tell everybody about it. Think about your real estate sales where you live. Find a problem, deliver a solution, and then tell everybody about it. Isn't that what we all do anyway? Like that's what we all do all day, every day, no matter what. The last thing would be this. It's always about leverage. Today we had 70, 80 people on here at different times. If you heard something that you loved, please post it online. You don't need to tag me. If you want to, you're welcome to. You don't have to. You can post it as if it was your idea. That doesn't bother me one bit. I promise you, if I said something smart, I took it from somebody. But what that does is somebody else sees it, and all of a sudden we talk to 70 or 80 people. But if you all say something and 50 people see it, all of a sudden a 60-minute webinar touches hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, people that we don't know, people that we don't meet. And you might have heard me say something, but the way that you say it is 10 times better or just has a different meaning. So please don't be selfish. That's why I share so many ahas from like Gary's group. Hey, here's what I heard, even though I might butcher what Gary said. It's Gary's ability to have a conversation. So he had that conversation with me that I've alluded to 3 times. It was just me and him on the phone. And I feel like it's a disservice to not share it with anybody. Like if I share it with you and you heard it, it's like Gary having it with 70 of us. He couldn't do it with 70 of us. It doesn't happen. So that's where we leverage. All right. So I swear to you, I'm not going to use any more words.
Well, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. God bless you and your team. And if we could do anything for you besides what you said, we are cheering you on, and we love you here in Texas, and we hope to see you soon.
Well, it'd be my pleasure. And to Fidelity, thanks for being such a great partner. Thanks for putting this together. Everywhere I go, I can count on F&F. We use them everywhere in the business, all 110, 106, whatever it is, cities that we're in. They're always our go-to partner. So thank you. You mean the world to us. So thank you.
Thank you, Marita. Thank you,
All right,
guys.
gang. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. Thank you.